This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, it's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, January the 9th, is the shortest player in NBA history. It's not a short joke, it's the truth. Muggsy Bogues is now 57 years old. He's 5'3" or 8.5 inches shorter than I am. And he played point guard for 4 teams in the NBA. With Charlotte, Washington, Golden State, and my beloved Toronto Raptors. Bogues actually was one of the best assist men in the NBA and in the top 10 in steals. I mean, after all, you're 5'3", you're gonna swipe the ball from underneath someone's nose and all that. He was a WNBA coach for Charlotte, but they are not in the WNBA anymore. Anyway, the funny thing is that Bogues' mother was 4'11" and his dad was only 5'5". Wow, his father was all that. Anyway, Muggsy came from a terrible home because his father was in jail for 20 years for armed robbery, and his brother was using hard drugs and all that. So anyway, he got many scholarships, but he went to Wake Forest instead of like Virginia, which is a good school. Anyway, Wake Forest was a decent school at that time and all that. When he ended his collegiate career, he spent all 4 years in college, like from freshman to senior. So he was the ACC leaders in steals and assists. Wake Forest decided to retire as number 14 right off the bat. And he's still Wake Forest's leader in steals and assists. Bogues was part of the 86 World Championship team that won the gold medal. Anyway, he was actually picked in the USBL draft. Yes, there was something called the United States Basketball League. I believe it was a competitive league to the NBA or something like that. It was actually, it was a spring basketball league and all that. I want to know about the USBA. Well, it was from 85 to 2008. Wow. Anyway, a late spring to early summer schedule. It was known as a development league. So mainly teams in Kansas, Nebraska, and Oklahoma. So yeah, that was pretty good and all that. Hot Rod Williams was a player of the year one time. Roy Tarpley, after his banishment from the NBA. Charles Smith was, but he got in trouble with the law. Yeah, there wasn't really any decent players and all that, other than Muggsy. However, the 87 NBA draft, which was laden with David Robinson, Reggie Miller, Scottie Pippen, and Kevin Johnson, Bogues was drafted 12th by the Washington Bullets. I wonder if any team could have taken a point guard like him. That didn't. Sacramento took Kenny Smith. Okay, that's fine. Cleveland took Kevin Johnson. So, yeah, as a point guard, I think they did the right thing. Everyone did the right thing. So, anyway, he went to Washington. And in his rookie year, he actually somehow was a teammate of the tallest NBA player at the time, Manute Bol, who was 7'7" tall. So Bogues was 2 feet 4 inches shorter than his teammate, or 28 inches, I should say. That's amazing and all that. But Bogues' playing time dropped when Wes Unseld took over the Washington franchise instead of Kevin Loughery. The Bullets would leave Bogues unprotected in the 1988 expansion draft, and because Charlotte was coming into the league, so Charlotte picked him up. Well, that he was not upset with Washington for leaving him unprotected. I mean, after all, he could try to be a big name guy for Charlotte. Unfortunately, in Charlotte's first season, Bogues was confined to the bench a lot. However, once Harder got fired, the coach got fired, then Bogues got to flourish and got to play a lot more years. He spent 10 years with the Hornets. And Bogues was popular and all that. He was a good assistant steals man, one of the best in the NBA at that time. Unfortunately, by 97, things were bad as Charlotte coach Dave Cowens wanted Bogues to retire because of his nagging knee injury. And then the Hornets would sign David Wesley, his replacement. And then after going through the preseason MRI on his knee, then the Hornets traded him November 7th to Golden State for BJ Armstrong. So you would have to go to Golden State and all that. And he was the NBA's all-time leader in assist to turnover ratio. Like, terrible. Bogues several ties with the organization. I mean, who wouldn't? So Bogues was the second last original member of the Hornets. You know, the team from 88 to the 88-89 season. The last man? Del Curry. Anyway, he did okay for Golden State and then Toronto. Toronto came calling. They signed him for the veterans minimum. And guess what? Del Curry was on the Raptors. So Bogues and Curry were doing everything. So anyway, he only started 5 games for the Raptors in the 99-2000 season, but he played 80 games, first time in a while. And he actually scored 24 points in a game against the Celtics at age 35, which was great. Unfortunately, chronic knee injuries would ruin him and all that. The Raptors would trade Muggsy and Mark Jackson to the Knicks for Chris Childs and a first-round pick, mostly for salary cap reasons. And then the Knicks didn't really use him, so they traded him to Dallas in a 3-team deal. And he decided to retire by 2002. A sad end to a decent career, where he played 889 games, 7.7 points per game, but 7.6 assists and 1.6 steals per game. That's still pretty good. He only played 19 playoff games, including that 93 run that they almost did well for Charlotte after beating Boston. Anyway, Bogues went into real estate and then was hired to be head coach of the Charlotte Sting in the WNBA. The funny thing is that every one of Muggsy Bogues' players on that team was taller than him. The shortest Charlotte player was 5'6", so that's weird. So anyway, Bogues helped the Sting out, but then they folded in 2007. So anyway, there's a decent thing he's done and all that. Bogues had a wife who met at a Dunbar game, and then they had a daughter, Brittany, and had a son, Ty. Bogues actually has a daughter from an earlier relationship. Bogues and his wife separated, then divorced, and then, he didn't have the kids. But the couple remarried in 2015, which was weird. So, anyway. Bogues' father died in Baltimore because of pneumonia. Yeah, well, anyway. Bogues moved his oldest brother into his house to help him battle drug addiction. And Chucky still lives with Bogues and has not used hard drugs in a long time. So it's good. Muggsy Bogues was short of a degree, but in 96 he returned to take summer courses to complete his degree and got a Bachelor of Arts in Speech Communications. So anyway, everyone needs to do anything. Bogues was in a few things. However, Bogues actually was in Space Jam. Oh yeah, the original Space Jam. He was actually in. He was one of the 5 players who had their talent stolen from them by the Monstars. So yeah, I think it was good that he got to be in Space Jam and been a good part of it. What else can you say about him? Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.